Stranded in the Canadian wilderness with nothing but a hatchet, 13-year-old Brian Robeson will have to learn to survive on his own. Why? Let's read Hatchet and find out. Welcome back to BG's Books. I'm Mr. BG, and today I will be reviewing Hatchet by Gary Paulsen. So, a lot of you may have read Hatchet growing up. It's a bit old now. It came out in about 1987, from what I can gather. But, so I'm sure that most of you have either read or probably even just heard of Hatchet. It's quite famous by this point among young readers. It was written by Gary Paulsen, and it basically follows a 13-year-old boy named Brian Robeson who, after a plane crash, is stranded in the Canadian wilderness and only has a hatchet on him, and he has to learn how to survive with just that. So anyway, it's a pretty interesting story. There's not really a whole lot to it, which I'll get into in the summary. But similar to other books that I've reviewed on this channel, of Fahrenheit 451, The Giver, stuff like that. It is a book that I actually read back in middle school, and then I didn't finish it. I read it, I started it in 6th grade as an assignment, and then I didn't pick it back up again until 9th grade, where I finished it. And I didn't realize how short it was at the time. I mean, look at this. Also, the font is like fairly large. So yeah, it's a rather short book. But anyway, to further explain everything that happens in this rather short book, we should just get on right into the summary. So let's do that. So this very short novel starts with 13-year-old Brian Robeson, our main character, on a plane into Canada to see his father. So long story short, a couple of years ago, he caught his mother with a guy that was not his dad. And I guess for whatever reason, the dad does not know about this, because that's the secret that Brian will forever be holding. But long story short, his parents got divorced. They're separated. So his mother packs him up to go to Canada to see his father and leaves him with only a hatchet and a backpack with other supplies. So now he's on the plane, and yeah, basically the flight goes perfectly fine for a while, and then the pilot just starts to have a heart attack mid-flight. And so then Brian has to take control and stuff. He doesn't know how to fly a plane because he's a kid, obviously. And then they go very off trail, and then long story short, the plane ends up crashing into a pond lake thing. The pilot is like dead, by the way. So the pilot goes down with the plane, but Brian manages to get out of the wreckage, and he's kind of left there alone in the Canadian wilderness for like 54 days or something. So basically, the rest of the book just kind of follows his 54 days in the Canadian wilderness. It's like he has to like make a shelter, which he's never done before, but he manages to make a decent shelter. He manages to get food by like sniping fish with arrows and stuff. Yeah, he just has like a backpack on him and stuff that's also at the bottom of the lake. Anyway, long story short, Brian manages to survive 54 days in the wilderness, and even though some planes flew off because they decided to stop looking for him because he went out so far, he eventually does get found by another guy, and then Brian escapes. But one starts to wonder what would have happened had Brian not left and had to endure the harsh Canadian winter. But that is how Hatchet, the first one, ends. So, how did I feel about Hatchet? Well, I thought Hatchet was a pretty fun little short book. Again, when I was in middle school and high school, I didn't realize truly how short it was because I was not keen on reading very much back in those days. I read Harry Potter and Percy Jackson once in middle school, and then I didn't start reading like I do today until 2021. So that was kind of my in-between period. That was even before Harry Potter, which was so weird. But anyway, so yeah, and yeah, I liked it. It was a pretty decent little thing there. But I did mention the first one. Hatchet is the first in a 5-book series which is also funny because the Hatchet movies starring Kane Hodder from Friday the 13th, he was Jason, also has a movie series called Hatchet. These are not connected, by the way. Hatchet is a slasher franchise, and then Hatchet, the book, is a book for children. But anyway, yeah, I just kind of find that funny. But anyway, so yeah, there are 4 sequels. One is called The River, which is a sequel to that book. And then Brian's Winter, which is the third one, is kind of like an alternate take on the first book. It's like I said, one starts to wonder what would happen had Brian not been rescued and he would have had to endure the Canadian winter. That's what Brian's Winter is about. It's basically an alternate version of the first book where he does have to survive that winter. And then Brian's Winter has 2 sequels in of itself. I don't remember what the 4th book is called, but the last one is called Brian's Hunt, I believe. So, yeah, I've only read the first one, of course. I do not have the other 4. But I would definitely be interested to take a look at those other 4 if you would want me to. So that maybe I could not only see what the first sequel to Hatchet was, but also see how Brian's Winter plays out, and then the sequels to that as well. Yeah, the second book, The River, just kind of doesn't even exist with Brian's Winter. It just retconned out of existence. I don't know, that's funny. But anyway, so overall, I find Hatchet to be just a fun, whimsical little tale of survival, not really getting into the nitty-gritty of survival like a lot of things do, like Lord of the Flies. That's another big example. Or with the current movie Send Help, I know that was really popular and shows like the more grittier side of survival and stuff. I still need to see that, but you know, stuff like that. Anyway, I just think Hatchet is a fairly fine, unoffensive, perfectly good book for young children to read and people like myself who are adults or teenagers. I really think it could apply to any age. I will say I'm not too keen on wilderness survival stories because, I don't know, they just tend to kind of bore me. But there will be the occasional wilderness survival that is entertaining and kind of proves why it exists, and I think Hatchet is one of those rare examples. So Hatchet is definitely one of the better wilderness survival books I've read in my life. But yeah, overall, I find Hatchet pretty fun, so go read it if you have not, and if you haven't read it in years, go read it again. You might rediscover an old favorite of yours. But anyway, guys, that is the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed my review for Hatchet by Gary Paulsen. I know this is a very short video, but like I said, Hatchet is a very short book, and there just wasn't a lot to talk about at all. But anyway, so yeah, sorry for being so short. If you like my longer videos, I promise longer videos will be coming in the future. But anyway, yeah, please let me know your thoughts on Hatchet or your thoughts on my review for Hatchet, or just let me know anything about books in general. You guys know I love reading your comments by now. But anyway, I have to get going. I have to catch a flight that is right over there. So I will see you guys in the next video. Mayday, I'm going down. I repeat, I'm going down. Well, at least I'm alive, I guess.